Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Kenny. If you're seeing my face for the first time, welcome. And if you are seeing my face over and over and over, I say thank you for always stopping by and welcome again. So today, don't mind me, I'm under a shed. It's supposed to be a church, but this is what it looks like. It's a shed beside my site here. We're filling up a foundation that we're planning to cast next weekend, the German floor. Then we have that fence going on. So we just did this gatehouse for this building. So I'm right here because this particular project has drained everyone, me and the workers. So I'm like, let me come and see how we can finish it today, but today is not more possible because of these suppliers. So tomorrow, that's why I came here. Something happened yesterday that I want to bring to your notice. You see, me, like I said, I practiced for years before I traveled to the United States. While I was in Nigeria, I buried myself in my profession. Like, all my life was on site. I would leave my house at 5:30 a.m., get back home at 11 p.m. 4 a.m. I was up again to go back to site. I didn't feel stressed because I enjoyed what I did. But leaving Nigeria for the United States, I didn't plan to jackpot, but then the whole thing became a jackpot at the end of the day. Then I had my baby, and the mother instinct just set in that if I really wanted to give this baby a good life, I don't think I could continue doing what I used to do. So I wanted to be not a stay-at-home mom, but at least to have a job that lets me spend more time with my kids. So that was the plan. That was why I gave up on construction in America. And it also began, but I didn't find fulfillment. I didn't like what I was doing, but I was surviving. I was paying my bills. I was making good money at some point. I didn't make good money initially, but at some point I was making a very good money because I had my job. I had my air braiding thing going on, and then I didn't have really much bill back then until I bought my house. People that own a house, that bought their house in 2022 and up to date, you will understand what I'm talking about. We're not talking about people that bought their house pre-COVID. So, long story short, if you knew me in America, you would think Kenny was all about braiding. That's what you would think. You won't respect me when I'm talking about construction. So, I think some people that I met over there still look at me with that eye. So when I'm talking some sensible things about construction, and they already had an engineer they believed in, they kind of rubbish what I'm saying and prefer to go with what their engineer says. And it's okay. So something happened last night. One of our subscribers at Emerald City he saw the videos that I posted because I always post our progress on my WhatsApp status. So he saw the walkway, the sidewalk is already ongoing and it's so beautiful because we're using stamped concrete on the sidewalk. So beside the sidewalk is going to be all green, like green area. So without the green, the sidewalk is already looking beautiful. So he sent me a message because it was the second subscriber. So the first time he visited the place, he was so angry, like, oh, that's a bush, this and that, or he doesn't think he can live there. I shouldn't waste my money to, I shouldn't invest too much in that place. I shouldn't waste my money there because that place is a bush. I'm like, every beautiful estate you see today, they started off as a bush. And if I have to go with your advice by not spending money there, then how does the city I advertised to you becomes a city? I'm advertising Emirate City. If I don't invest in the bush, how does it become a city? So it was like, okay, because it was almost done paying when he visited. He respected himself and the business and put friendship aside, because your business, family and friends will be the first people to invest in it. So he finished paying, and of course we have this 6 months rule. Once you finish paying, you have to start constructing so that the whole place will not remain as a bush. So last night when he saw the walkway, he contacted me. I was like, oh, this is beautiful, I love what you're doing. How much would it cost me if I want to start my foundation? And we had already talked about this foundation thing, I think 2 months ago. He went silent again. So because now he's seeing a massive progress, because we had a lot of people invested last month after I did the advert I did in August. A lot of people bought in September stroke October. So now the project is moving faster. So it was like, he now revisited the discussion of how much would I spend to do the foundation. So I referred him back to the chart of September, thereabout, and just highlighted it, so amount. And it was like, why is it that much? I will even say the figure, nothing to hide. I was like 11.6 million to do the 4-bedroom foundation. It was like, oh, that's too much. Is it in a waterlogged area? Why is it that much? And I told him we're doing part foundation. It's a big house. And he said, part foundation is supposed to be cheaper than a raft foundation, because there's a building he's trying to do in Lagos, and that place is in a marshy area, and they're trying to do a raft, and the engineer quoted him 13.8 million for the raft. So I told him, send me the quotes, let me see, because this bill I gave you was made in 2024 December, when cement was still 7,000. So me telling you to bring that amount, I am not intending to make any profit from it, because you building in that estate is a marketing strategy for me. Because once people see that, oh, people have started building, it will even motivate other subscribers to rush their payment and start building, or motivate intending subscribers to want to buy, because it is no more a bush. People are now building there. So I'm not interested in making any profit from this business. I'm just interested in the progress we will be making at Emerald City, and it becoming the vision we really sold to people. So I explained all these things. He still did not believe me. I said, okay, send me the bill. Let me see what is different. Because I also just concluded a raft for one of my subscribers on YouTube. He contacted me, and we are still working on the building. We started from the ground. I did a video while I was on that site when we're still doing the raft. And a lot of people saw that video. So I was like, real-time figure for that raft, it cost me so much, minus the top. I know what the real figure cost me, minus my profit, minus the preliminary works on site. And it is not, we're not talking about 30 for the real figure minus the top. But I told him, even though that was a big house, it was twice your own, I still do not expect you to do your raft for less than 18. despite the fact that it is small. He was like, oh, you think I'm rich like you people in Nigeria? Or you know how we make our money abroad, this and that. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm not trying to extort you. I'm just telling you something that is real. If your bill is too small, it's questionable. Send it to me. Let me see. And he sent it to me. The first thing that turned me off was there was no budget for excavation. There was no budget for preliminary works. There was no budget for pumping out water in the foundation, and you want to do a foundation in water. There was a quote or a budget for 3.5 ton of reinforcement, which includes 16 mm, 12 mm, and 10 mm for both the beams and the floor. I was like, 3.5 tons? Please send me the structural design. I want to see it. I already told him all those things that I observed. There was no professional fee. It's not possible for an engineer to want to work for you for free. There has to be a professional fee. So I was like, send me the structural design. I'm interested in this project. Not to do it, but to make sure you do the right thing. So he sent me the the design, and I looked at it. I was confused. After I looked at the beams, I saw some beams that were 250 by 1.6 meters, 250 mm by 1.6 meters, that's 250 mm by 1600 mm. And I saw some beams that were 250 mm by 350 mm, all kinds of beams everywhere. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm tripping. Then I went to check the details. Damn, this design was useless. I don't know where that engineer trained. They cannot use it. They can't use it. I don't care who trained you. If you like, go and train in Julius Berger. You can't use this design. So I thought I was tripping, and I started to question myself, like, am I saying right, or it is my years of break that is playing on me? So I sent it to my friend that I have a problem with a design. Please check this out. This guy has done a lot of skyscrapers. We work together. So he checked it and it was like, Kenny, what's wrong with the design? I'm like, are you kidding me? You don't see anything wrong with this design? Please check it again. He was like, okay, give me a second. Let me turn on my computer. Maybe the phone I'm checking it on is confusing me. I'm like, okay, I have all the time. Please open your computer. Let's look at it together. So when he opened it, I'm like, number one, the detail doesn't look like a raft to me. It was like, it's actually a raft. I said, okay, if it's a raft, why do we have a floating beam? That's the number one thing I asked him. He was like, wait, I think you're right. Then he checked it well. And I was like, yeah, we have a floating beam. It shows column, floating beams. I'm like, that doesn't look like a raft, number one. But let's assume it's a raft because of the layout of the beams. It's a raft. But then there's no detail. They show top and bottom. Where are the lateral bars? Where is the breakdown of the 1600 mm depth? What is supposed to be the excavation recommendation? I mean, everything was just questionable about that design. And then we had a section that was showing us 20 mm reinforcement details, and the actual beams were showing 16 mm reinforcement. And there was a place we had 96 numbers of links at 200 mm spacing, but then when we did our manual calculation, the place only required 31 numbers. And I'm like, so I just texted the client that I would like to speak to the person that designed this thing. I will appreciate a 4-way calls, me, my friend, the designer, and you, the client. I'll be happy to jump on the phone. Let him come and defend what he designed. And they got this guy on the phone. I was so mad. And I started asking him questions. Is this the first question I asked him was, how did you come about this design? He was like, we designed it, this, that. I'm like, you designed it? Does this look right to you? He was like, that's not the design we're using for the construction. So why did you quote with that design? if you're not using it for construction. Oh, there's another design they used for approval. I'm still coming to that topic. There's another design they used for approval, which is a smaller design. I said, okay, but you are not using that for construction. So where is the design you're using for construction? Or is the one we have? But you just said that's not what you're using for construction. And you cannot see a problem with this design. I want to tell you for a fact that there is no builder or a civil engineer on earth that knows what they're doing that can use this design. What are you in the building industry? It's like he's an architect. I said, oh, mine. Now I understand why you cannot know it. Architects are not trained to understand structural designs. They are not. Town planners are not trained to understand designs. A QS is not trained to understand a wrong design. Quote me now. A QS is not trained to understand a wrong design, but they are trained to understand the details in a design, because it is that details they will use to prepare the estimate. Civil engineer and builders, they have a lot of similarities, a lot, that if you don't understand both of them professions, you would think they are the same. They are not. So what am I saying in essence? I'm saying all these things because of you people that always look for cheap and don't understand the importance of all these professional bodies or of all these different departments in the beauty industry. So when he said he's an architect, I said, oh, you just tied my hands. Because if you had told me you are a civil engineer or something and you did this mess, I will abuse the parents that sent you to school. But the fact that you just told me you're an architect, I don't expect you to know it. But you now delving into what you do not know is where you messed up. So I asked him, how did you intend to use this design? Oh, I didn't plan to use the design. Everything I want to do on site is in my head. Oh, mine. I was more mad. It's in your head. So you want to go to site and do a raft offhand and detail that raft offhand. I said, what makes you think that you can do a raft offhand? And that's how we do it. To the glory of God, I have done 10 buildings and they are still standing. That was his defense. When I'm designing a building, I always imagined it on site. I always imagine the construction on site. I know where to put my columns. I said, bro, structural design goes way beyond columns. They go way beyond column placement. Even that column placement, it is backed up by BS codes. You can't just imagine where to put it. You can't just assume where to put it. There is a way the load of that building is distributed. That is what informs the placement of columns. You might be thinking this is where that has a major load, but it might not be the way you're looking at it. A place might have more dead load than is expected to have life load. These are things that the structural designer will put into consideration. It's not just about the building coming on it. What about the load that you impose on it after building it? So I was talking to this guy and my friend, oh my God, that one is more vast with all these code. So that one also was so mad and he picked on that column thing, placing of column, and this guy now felt like we were attacking him. It is not about attacking you. It is about you thinking that because you have done 10 buildings and they are still standing, you can always keep doing it like that. The first problem I have with people when it comes to telling me what you know is when you make mention of that is how we do it. Once you say that, I just know you don't know what you're doing. Because I've done too many foundations to understand that every site is unique. Every project is unique. Even on one plot of land, you can see 6 different soil types. It's possible, very possible. On one foundation, if the building is kind of big, you can do 2 different types of foundation on one building. So don't be saying that's how we do it. This guy now said, oh, let him send the original design that they use for the approval. I'm like, I'm not interested. My colleague just calmed me down. It was like, okay, send it, let's see it. He sent it, and this guy was calling a combined pad and strip. He was calling it a strip foundation. I corrected. I said, bro, this is not a strip foundation. You don't even know a strip foundation. It's a combined pad and strip. You can't use them in isolation. If it's a strip, that means you're saying it doesn't even have any columns. If it's a pad without strip, that means you're saying we're not needing blocks. I mean, these people need to understand their lane and stay there. I understand a lot of you want to save cost. A lot of you want to give your job to an architect that you know, an engineer that you know. You have a surveyor in your area that is also taking small projects. But then you now start complaining that after 6 months you're having cracks. After 6 months your building is leaking. After 6 months, this is not to say that it's not every engineer or every builder that knows this thing. Some people are engineers, civil engineer real ones, and builders or building engineers, and they don't have the field experience that is required to understand all these things. Some people understand AutoCAD designs or even whatever software they use. It's all kinds of software out there. But if you don't have the field knowledge to question what this software designed for you, you will still mess up. I don't design. I don't know how to design. I don't use any of those softwares. I'm not even interested in learning it. But if you bring a wrong design to me, I will tell you it's wrong. Because I have the field experience to know it when it's wrong. I've seen a lot of that. Especially another mistake people make is when your architect designs your architectural design, please engage a different structural design unless you are sure that your own contact person is the structural designer that is going to get an architect to do the structural design. But if your contact person is an architect that promises you a structural design by his team, please get another structural designer to vet that design. Because a lot of times, architects don't know when the structural design is wrong. They don't know. They are not trained to do it. Apart from the fact that they are not trained to do it, they are the first person in the design team. After the surveyor has plotted the survey plan and everything, they pass it on to the architect. The architect is the first person that puts all these lines together. The architect is the first person that puts all the lines together to give you something that starts looking real in the design team. So they pass it on to the structural designer. The structural designer does their own thing, and then they pass it on to they also pass that architectural design on to the M&E designer. They do their own thing. Then everything now goes back to the quantity surveyor. So what am I trying to say in essence by telling you these steps? Once the architect designs his part, he might not get to see any other thing again. He doesn't have a business with the structural design. He doesn't. So he might not get to see any of these working drawings again till they get to the client. So how do you expect them to be conversant to what they don't get to see? That's why I said the QS might have a knowledge about a wrong design, or about details, because everything at the end of the day comes to the QS to quantify. So if a QS that pays attention to details sees a wrong design that is off, he will be able to pick it, because he will understand that when we did so, it wasn't like this. When we did that, he might not be able to pick where the offness is, but he can tell you if he pays attention to what he does. He can tell you if it's right or wrong. So at the end of the day, structural designer works, QS works, architect does the thing, M&E. Everything now comes back to the builder. Everything now comes back to the builder that actualizes everybody's work. The builder is now the one that brings it to life. So understand all these things. Understand them and stop falling victim. The raft that I concluded for my client, we're at the first floor level now. We're almost at the lintel level for the first floor. This person also told me they got a quote from this popular person online. I don't want to mention anybody's name, but they got this quote from the person. The person is always showcasing how much you can use to build 5-bedroom duplex, how much you can use to build, how much this bungalow cost us online. And when I got the quote, it was about, the person was calculating a number of length for 16 mm for a massive raft. And when I saw it, I'm like, I'm so sorry, sir. It's not possible. It cannot work. It's not possible. So when I even saw the breakdown of the price list, apart from this raft person, this building, let me show you. That one, they are doing the barbed wire right now. So they are doing the coping of the fence. You can see that. So you see all those iron, they will put barbed wire. They are newly doing this coping on top of the gatehouse, and they will still dress all these pillars. So I'm just giving you an example. When this client wanted to talk to, she also mentioned this same person that, oh, there's this lady I always follow online. She does this, she says that. She says a sand is so price. I said, not in Ibadan. Our state is different. My state is different. I'm not here to rip anybody off. But don't be saying, oh, somebody can do it cheaper. A lot of I can do it cheaper. They have implications. So, yeah, I understand if you pay big, it doesn't guarantee that you get a good job. It's all boils down to personality or the person's integrity. But at the end of the day, a lot of I can do it cheaper. They have implications. So when I told the client for the raft that it's not possible, I'm glad he's somebody that wants the best. He knows what he wants, and he doesn't mind spending on what he wants. So I sent it to my QS, and 3 tons ended up becoming 13 tons of reinforcement. He gave it to other people to help him vet our bill, and they told him it wasn't outrageous. We got the contract, and now we're at first floor level. The same thing with this. Same thing with this. Was this is a foundation that is already costing me 25 million. For real, no capping. That was exactly what I took from the client, thinking, oh, it will cover my professional fee, this and that. But one thing about me, I don't like running back to my client to say, oh, it's not enough, we have to bring more money, except it's not what we quoted for. But as long as it is what we quoted for, even if it means us foregoing the profit, we will. We just have to do it right. It just has to be done right. Getting to site, we noticed some difference in slope that required us to go extra mile to give it the best. And that's where we had to spend our profit. Let go of our profit to give it the best. Not everybody will do that. Please be mindful of who you give your project to. Make sure they are more about the quality than their pocket. And make sure they are not about, that's how we do it. Every site will challenge you. That's why I love construction. That's why it keeps me away from the troubles of life, because I'm already faced with the troubles on the site to tackle. So every site will challenge you. Every site is different. Please understand that the way we did it in Lekki is not the same way we're going to do it in Magodo. Understand that. know it and know peace, and do your due diligence about who you're giving a job to. A lot of you will say, oh, I trust him, I trust her. The same way my client of yesterday trusted this guy, and the meeting was a flop. That at the end of the day, the guy had to thank us for, because at the end of the day we try to now calm him down and let him know that we're not condemning him. We're just about what is right for the client. I'm not interested in taking his job as a project manager for that project. I just want him to have the right design to work with. So he needs to go and redo that design and bring it back to us for vetting. We'll do that for him. So he thanked us, the client thanked me, and that was the end of that meeting. And I feel like you guys need to know about things that are going on out there. The fact that somebody built a building that is still standing doesn't mean it cannot fail. Even if it doesn't fail immediately, the building will not, quote me anyway, the building will not survive its supposed lifespan. Every building has a lifespan. So if it's done right, it will live that lifespan and even beyond. But if it's not done right, you will sweat. You will sweat managing that building. So, Chagel Kenny again. Thank you for watching this far, and I will see you on my next one. Bye.